News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
3 Missoulians are dead after a two-car head-on collision that occurred Saturday afternoon. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Monday, October 31st, 2016. Again, as he just mentioned, it is Halloween, so please be aware as you're driving today, especially tonight. Watch out for trick-or-treaters. It is going to be a dark and stormy night, as it was overnight. Right now it's cloudy at 45 degrees. We do have light rain in the area. Roads around the area are bare and wet. Our newscast this morning, sponsored by Western States Cap, the pros' place to go for big or little machines that can get the work done like no other. At about 4:30 Saturday afternoon, 3 Missoula residents were killed in a two-car head-on crash that occurred on West Broadway near the Missoula Airport. A dispatcher from the Montana Highway Patrol said there were 2 vehicles involved, a Jeep Cherokee and a Ford Taurus.
Vehicle 1 was westbound on West Broadway Street, reportedly speeding. The vehicle swerved across all lanes of traffic, impacting Vehicle 2 that was eastbound on West Broadway. All occupants were pronounced on scene. Vehicle 1 had a 34-year-old male out of Missoula. Vehicle 2 had a 65-year-old male from Missoula and a 57-year-old female from Missoula.
The Missoula County Coroner has not yet released the names of the victims of Saturday's triple fatality. Those names are expected to be released later today. 4 teenagers are expected in court tomorrow in Ravalli County to face charges related to the unintentional arson that eventually became the Roaring Lion Fire. 3 Hamilton men, all 18, Tyler Johnson, Stephen Banks, and Coney Kinez, and a 16-year-old female will face misdemeanor and possibly felony arson charges for allegedly failing to extinguish a campfire that eventually started the fire that destroyed 16 homes, led to the fatal heart attack of one homeowner, and cost over $11 million to fight. Ravalli County Under Sheriff Steve Holden explained.
What the investigation has indicated now is that it was a campfire that was built by the suspects, and it was built in some kind of just native duff and flammable materials. When those campers left the area, believing the fire was out, it crept around for several days before the weather conditions were right, and then blew it up on July 31st.
Although the Roaring Lion Fire is infamous for its destruction, Holden said it also revealed how a community came together.
You know, we had the 2 fires. The Roaring Lion was by far the worst this year. And, you know, one thing about Ravalli County is our community always pulls together so well, not just during the incident or during the crisis, but the community is still working together to help the victims of that fire.
After facing criminal charges, the 4 could face civil charges and could possibly face an extremely large bill to pay for the firefighting efforts. House Speaker Paul Ryan is urging Montana voters to send Congressman Ryan Zinke back to the U.S. Congress for a second term as Republicans seek to boost turnout ahead of the November 8th election. During a rally yesterday at the Billings Airport, Ryan described Zinke, a former U.S. Navy SEAL, as a rising leader within the party. The Wisconsin lawmaker cited Zinke's push to bar Syrian refugees and his support for lifting the ban on U.S. crude oil exports. Democratic challenger Denise Juneau says Zinke spent too much time promoting his own political career instead of protecting Montana's interests. Also at the rally, Republican gubernatorial candidate Greg Gianforte, the Bozeman tech industry entrepreneur, has sunk more than $5 million of his fortune into his bid to unseat Governor Steve Bullock. House Speaker Ryan is under fire from fellow Republicans now, upset with his messy political divorce from Donald Trump. It's a fresh round of discord that has some GOP lawmakers threatening an effort to oust him. The rumblings of discontent have been limited so far. No one has advanced a potential replacement who's as respected or popular among colleagues as the Wisconsin Republican. That suggested it would be difficult to dump Ryan, who was his party's 2012 vice presidential nominee and could harbor eventual White House ambitions. The unhappiness with Ryan was prompted by his abandonment of Trump's GOP presidential campaign. The interim director of the VA Montana healthcare system has been appointed to serve as the agency's new permanent director. The Montana Standard reports the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs named Kathy Berger to that position on Friday. Berger began leading the agency in June after former director John Ginnity announced his resignation. Before taking the job, Berger served as director of the VA's healthcare system in Sheridan, Wyoming. Montana's junior Senator Steve Daines commented on the appointment of Berger as the new VA director for the state of Montana.
The appointment of a new VA Montana director is welcome news for Montana's veterans, and I wish Dr. Berger the very best. Now that our veterans have a new director, I very much look forward to seeing a commitment and change to ensure that their needs are not only being met, but that Montana's veterans receive the very best possible care.
VA Montana manages the health care of more than 47,000 veterans. In addition, Daines also made a comment in response to the FBI's announcement on the reopening of an investigation into the emails regarding former Secretary of State and Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton's reckless conduct put our national security at risk, and the citizens of our country deserve an honest and a transparent investigation to hold the former secretary accountable.
Also, construction crews are set to begin work this week on expanding Flathead County's crowded jail. The Flathead Beacon reports the county commission finalized plans for the $1.3 million expansion last week. The project will add about 40 beds to the Flathead County Detention Center to deal with issues of overcrowding. The 30-year-old facility is meant to hold about 60 inmates, but frequently houses more than 100. Some inmates have been sleeping on portable beds on the floor. The jail is being expanded into the old county attorney's office, which is moved to a new building across the street. County officials expect to be able to get inmates into the new beds, hopefully sometime this spring. Western Montana is experiencing Seattle-like rainfall, as you no doubt have noticed, what's become a record-breaking wet October. Hydrologist Ray Nicholas from the National Weather Service explains.
Especially up in northwest Montana, and Kalispell just set an all-time record. That office has been going since, as far as recording precipitation, since 1897, and we just broke a record here yesterday where we exceeded the 3.4 inches for the month of October.
Nicholas says nearly a foot of rain fell near Hungry Horse Dam.
Bureau of Reclamation that operates Hungry Horse Reservoir, we've got a precipitation gauge up there, and they're now up to 10.39 inches for the month of October, and they broke their old mark, which was around 7.3 inches. So you can see, Hungry Horse is already approaching what's like a foot of rain for the month of October.
Here in Missoula, Nicholas says records go back to 1897. This October ranks among the top 10 of the wettest of all time. Finally, an 80-year-old Bible-quoting cowboy who's been crisscrossing the country on horseback wants $50 million from New York City for seizing his 2 horses after he rode into town in June. Doc Mishler says city officials seized his 2 horses illegally after he rode across the Outer Bridge crossing from New Jersey to Staten Island as part of his mission to raise awareness about child hunger. Mishler was arrested and charged with 2 counts of animal cruelty. Veterinarians from the American Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals say the horses were malnourished, dehydrated, and had open saddle sores. Mishler's attorney had filed notice of intent to sue the city. Mishler also must appear in court in January on the criminal charges that he denies. Our News Talk time now is 6:13.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Soggy conditions continue today with rain in the forecast. We will see a break from the wet weather, though, through the afternoon, but a couple of sprinkles and showers will be possible during those trick-or-treating hours. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for Missoula's KECI 13.